So we're just now getting around to our thoughts and recap of The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 1. I know Episode 2 already premiered last night, but we're really slow to put these videos out, so just bear with us. But really excited that Season 2 is out. It's been one of my favorite shows that has come out, the past 5 years, probably. And the games are fantastic. I know Part 2 is not as beloved as the first one, but to each their own. But Season 1 was fantastic. Very faithful adaptation of the video game, which is easier to do, considering how the game is set up already. It's already kind of set up cinematically, so it's pretty easy to adapt. But they did a really good job. I know people aren't really a fan of the casting, but I think it's fine. So we're going to kind of recap what happened, Episode 1, Season 2 of Last of Us. We're two lore geeks. We like to kind of express our thoughts and opinions on fantasy, sci-fi shows, like Last of Us, Game of Thrones, House of Dragon, etc. So if you like that sort of content, be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more of content like this. For now, we'll get right into Episode 1, Season 2 of Last of Us. So when we left off of Season 1, it kind of ended with Joel and Ellie having a falling out because Joel pretty much lied to her about the whole Firefly thing. And so this is where we start off with their rocky relationship. Ellie
Which is still rocky.
Is still rocky, even more so now. So this episode, we started out with introducing a new character who is a big part of Part 2 of the games, and that's Abby. She's part of the Firefly gang, and they are looking for Joel because, he killed a lot of their members of the Fireflies. So that's how we start off the episode, is we get introduced to Abby and those people, and they're looking for Joel, and so that's kind of how their adventure starts.
Yeah, and then we went into the fighting scene, which we both thought was probably exactly what it was, like not her being in a real fight, but practicing. So that was the case. It was pretty rough, though. It was pretty rough.
Yeah, and then the person she was fighting said he was holding back, and so Ellie obviously got mad at that. And I think we were also talking about this, and we pointed it out that the character Jesse, the actor that plays him, is actually pretty accurate to how it was in the game. We watched a little side-by-side comparison after we watched this episode, and everything is pretty spot on, so we'll kind of talk about that later. But anyway, Jesse kind of told Ellie to that was the end of the sparring or whatever, and that's when the person that she was up against said that he was holding back. So she was a little bit mad about that, kind of storms out, and then we kind of see a little short scene of a pipe that is going into the town. I think it used to be like a water pipe or sewage pipe or whatever, but there's some roots that are growing inside of it. Obviously, that's kind of anonymous, which you'll find out later.
Do you mean ominous?
Come on, man.
It's also very anonymous. They don't have names. But very ominous, as you'll see, later in the episode.
It was very obvious that something bad was going to come.
And then we go to a scene with, we get to see Joel. Obviously, he's looking a little bit older, a little bit more rough. And he's tinkering with something, and then we get introduced to the other character that Ellie is kind of interested in, and she's Dina. plays also a big part in part 2. So we kind of get introduced to her character. Her casting was also very well done.
Very close.
And Joel, at this point, is actually bonding more with Dina rather than Ellie, because she kind of relates to him more, and Ellie is being more of an outsider to him at this point. And then after we get the Dina and Joel bonding scene, we go out to where it's very cold. Where did they say they were?
They're in Wyoming.
Wyoming. Obviously very cold. But we get a little scene of Tommy and Ellie. I guess they're out like scouting, or they're practicing their shots. And so this is also very accurate to in the game too. They're kind of both on a cliffside or very far away from kind of the city, and she's taking sniper shots at the infected.
Yeah, we watched the side by side, and it was really good. And then I'm someone I did not play the games at all, and I wasn't really even familiar with them until season 1. And I started watching season 1, and at the time I was making videos on a different channel about it, and so I wanted to learn. As soon as I watched it, I was like, oh, this is really good. I want to learn about this, so I did. And so I know what's going to happen. I know what's coming and everything, even though I haven't played the games. But what's really interesting about the show is even with how accurate to the games that it is, and how closely they've replicated so many things, it's still really good. For you could just come in and watch this as someone who had never played them before and be completely fine. You don't need to. I mean, I did, because that's just how I am. I'm going to go and do all this research and learn everything that I can. But now I really like watching the side by sides, just to see how close it is. And this was one of those scenes that was like spot on.
Yeah,
so.
And like if you're going to adapt like a video game or like something like this. This is really kind of the standard now that us gamers are going to be kind of expecting, because, I mean, the source materials right there, they're really... it also really helps that the creator of the game is involved heavily. I think he's the executive producer, Neil Druckmann, and then Craig Mazin is on there too, so they were both involved with creating and writing the game, and so they're also on the team for the Last of Us HBO show too. So that really, really helps. Now, if we can only got that for The Witcher, save that for another video.
Well, as someone who is more of a book reader than a gamer, I can also tell you that they weren't adapted well from the books either.
And then once they're done, target practicing and doing all that. They're about to go back to the town. Tommy tells Ellie that she can't go on, the scouting run because Joel doesn't want her to. So, of course, there's a big whole argument there of... Kind of.
Yeah. There was kind of an argument there, but she was kind of like, yeah, actually, I am going to go. And then he was like, okay. So it was kind of pointless. They
didn't really fight much.
They didn't really fight much. He was just like, okay. And then she...
But he knows that she can hold her own, but Joel is more... father-type position where he doesn't want to see her, get hurt.
Well, he already lost a daughter, so it's really understandable.
Yeah. And then once we get back to town, there's a little short scene with Joel. He's kind of in charge of the town now, or in some kind of managerial role. And he's trying to figure out, if they have enough supplies to last them through the winter. And then Tommy's wife is wanting to bring in, other people that have, come seeking refugees. Yeah. And then we see Tommy's son.
Yeah, so it gives you a sense of how much time has gone by, because his wife was pregnant in season 1. Mm-hmm. So you just kind of get that sense of like, it has been a while, because now this is like a 5-year-old.
Yeah, it was, I think this was 5 years later. Mm-hmm. So some time has passed, and this kid is now born, and so we got that little scene.
What an interesting therapy session.
Very interesting therapy session.
It was a very interesting therapy session. We find out that Joel has killed the therapist's husband because he was infected, not just like maliciously.
He had to.
He had to, and she's still mad about it. She confessed that, and there is a lot of drinking, and it's just very. We learned some stuff, but it's just a very interesting dynamic. But good for Joel for being in therapy. Good for this settlement for having that in post-apocalyptic times, and I guess you just kind of take what you can get with your therapist because you don't have very many to choose from.
Don't really have many options.
Yeah, but that was interesting.
And then we get to the part where, Ellie and Dina are going to go out scouting.
This one was really interesting too because we did watch the side by side with the game and it was so accurate in so many ways, which is always just interesting. Again, as someone who didn't play these games, it's interesting to see how closely they are doing some of that stuff. Except for it's a bear, and in the game it was a moose.
Yeah, whenever they got out on their scouting mission, the reconnaissance kind of little mission they were doing, they stumbled upon this building, and there was a lot of blood there, a lot of infected with their limbs. And
honestly, I think that was better because we did watch the comparison with the game, and it was way scarier. And I know, mooses can be very dangerous, but I'm sorry, I'm never gonna look at a moose and think that's as scary as a bear. Even if they don't look as scary as a bear, And you just, I feel like you got the sense of how many there really had to even be to
take down this bear.
Take down a bear. Yeah, it was really gross and really good.
Yeah, that's a change that is a good change. The other members of their scouting party come up to it, and they're like, "Oh well, we need to go back and report this." And Ellie and Dina are like, "No, we're just gonna go inside the building."
Because I think there's a couple.
Yeah, they heard a couple clickers in there. So of course they do that because what's the leader of the scouting party going to do?
Yeah,
so
nothing.
They climb up this this box van to the building. They're inside. They're kind of having fun with the whole. They find two.
I think it was two
clickers
upstairs.
Yeah. So they were having fun with it. Expressions.
Whatever you have to do to enjoy yourself in post-apocalyptic world.
So of course Ellie takes hers down with a knife because they don't want to use guns just in case there's other infected hiding in there. Which, speaking of, she takes hers out. Dina takes hers out, I guess, too. We didn't see it, but they both come together, and then Ellie falls through the floor.
Into it was a commercial building, so it was a big
warehouse.
Fall. Yeah, it was a grocery store or something. Yeah. So it was a big fall.
Yep. Falls down there.
And that's really where, honestly, because it was kind of slow moving, which is fine. It's the beginning of the season, but it was kind of slow moving up until then. But that's when it got really interesting and intense.
Yeah. So we a lot of introductions this season, not only characters but enemies. There's an enemy called a Stalker, and it's a lot smarter than your typical regular infected. Ellie is pretty arrogant at this point, so she doesn't think it's anything. But she's a kid, and they think they know everything. So we get this little scene where the Stalker is kind of hunting Ellie. It's the roles were reversed, and then the Stalker kind of tackles her and bites her.
Yeah, which we had just had her and Tommy talking earlier in the episode about how she's immune, and he's like, "Oh, nobody's supposed to know," which obviously nobody should know. I think at some point, and maybe it doesn't have to be this episode, but there does need to be a discussion of if there is someone who is immune and there can be a cure because of this.
Well, they don't really have any scientists there. So
not there, but
not there. Yeah. So.
But it's just aside from all that, it's there is the question of is it worth sacrificing one person to save?
It's a morality question.
Obviously, yes, it's a definitely morality question. Obviously, Joel thinks no. So
he doesn't want to lose another daughter.
Yeah, but they did briefly again remind us that she is immune. She was bit in the last season.
So she ends up fighting off the Stalker. Now there's a difference between this and the game. The Stalker actually chases her outside. And then...
Well, in the game, Dina also fell
Yeah,
with her.
they
They were
both
like
fell.
together.
Mhm.
So did she get bit?
Dina didn't.
No. Did Ellie get bit, or is that just...
No, I don't think in the game she got
I don't think
bit.
so either. Just reminding us.
They get through all that, and at the end of the episode, we get this little nice gathering of everyone in the town.
Because it's New Year's
It's
Eve,
New
right?
Year's.
Yeah.
It's New Year's Eve. They're doing the whole New Year's celebration, and Dina is dancing with someone else, not Jesse. Jesse is talking to Ellie whether or not they're going to get back together. They're on and off a lot, so they have that whole scene, and then we get a scene where Ellie and Dina are really close together, and this is kind of when I think Dina realizes that Ellie is into her,
Yeah.
and so we get that scene. They kiss, and there's this one guy here that is like, this is a family event.
Having a problem with it.
Yeah, he's having a very, very bad time with it. Telling them that it's a family event. He calls them dykes, and
It's not
Joel
very nice.
Joel does not like that, and so he pushes him to the ground and tells him to get out.
Which also happened.
It helped. Yeah, he didn't push him to the ground in the game. He just kind of shoved him.
Yeah.
But I like this one better because it shows Joel is more aggressive.
Just being protective of Ellie. So, which makes sense.
And then, of course, Ellie, being herself, says she doesn't need him to, fight her battles, and, she doesn't need protecting. So Joel kind of gets humiliated. Always sad to see Joel get humiliated for, doing something that he thinks is
the right thing.
Is the right thing.
Yeah. Ellie's kind of annoying.
Yeah, she is.
But I don't know.
Abby is more annoying.
Well,
But
yes.
Speaking of Abby, at the end of the episode, we get them. They are making their way to the town that Joel is in. So
they know where he is.
They know where he is.
They're
so
on their way. So, it feels like shit's about to really happen.
Yeah.
Because,
like
I said,
that's where episode 2 comes in.
Yeah, a lot of this episode was slow, which is fine.
Yeah,
and
it's introducing everything.
It's introducing a lot of new characters, a lot of new things. It's reminding you. It's been over 2 years since season 1 came out.
Yep.
But I feel like it's going to be a lot more fast paced.
There's a lot more action in this one for sure, but it's more of people versus people than people versus infected, like Walking Dead. There wasn't even any Walking Dead left.
I was just gonna say Walking Dead.
The zombies aren't the problem anymore.
Yeah. It becomes all the people. But really, if you look at human history, it's not a stretch to think that would actually happen in a post-apocalyptic world. It's not a stretch to think that people versus people could be the biggest problem, even if you do have, even if you do have another threat. So, but what did you think of it overall? Because honestly, on this, like I said, I'm not. I've played some games, but I'm not a huge gamer. So I enjoy the show. I really like it, but I feel like this is more like your thing. Whereas if you saw our last video, it's House of the Dragon. It's like me talking 90% of the time because I can talk about Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon all day. Mm-hmm. But what did you think about this, just overall?
I really enjoyed it. It's a great introduction to everything, and it really, I think the part I like most about it is that it stayed true to the game, stayed true to the source material. If you do that, you just have a recipe for success. I don't know why all these big companies don't follow that formula. They always have agendas.
Because we have, so many of the things that we love and want to talk about have been so ruined by their
taken from us.
TV adaptations. The last couple seasons of Game of Thrones need no explanation. The Witcher, I don't even want to talk about Rings of Power. I didn't even watch it, so I'm not going to talk about it. And then, there's one more. Oh, well, Disney Star Wars.
Well,
so.
There's that. There's a whole video on that. But, I thought this was really good. I think I would probably give it an 8 or 9. 8 or 9 out of 10. Pretty much.
I'd probably give it like a 7 or 8.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Ellie's really annoying.
Well,
but, I mean...
she's supposed to be.
She's right. And we also... We spend all day with teenagers who think they know more than us, so we're used to it.
Relatable.
It's relatable.
Yeah, I thought it was a great start. We got a great start to the season. I think it's going to be really good, especially if Neil and Craig are involved to the end. They said that the show isn't going to go past the source material, which is awesome. Like, should have done that for Game of Thrones.
Oh, yeah.
But then you wouldn't have had a 8-season show.
9 seasons. Or no, you're right. 8 seasons. What am I thinking?
An 8-season show, 2 of which could have just not existed. But anyway, there's another time and place for that. You said you gave this one 7, like a 7.
I don't know, like a 7 or an 8. It was good. It was good. I'd like to see more action, but I think I think that building those relationships is really important too. So I really liked it overall. This is a show where I want to see that action. So yeah. I'm sure we will. I'm sure.
For sure. And then also let us know what you thought of the episode down in the comments. We always love to interact with you and kind of read your thoughts and opinions on the episode as well. But in the meantime, we're gonna have to go watch episode 2. We'll put that video out
along with our rewatch of House of the Dragon.
House of the Dragon.
So
we'll put that out as well. So be sure to like this video and subscribe for more content like this, recaps, thoughts, opinions, all that good stuff.
Ranting.
We do it here on 2 Lore Geeks. And in the meantime, we'll see you on the next episode. And thanks for watching.